First of all, this case goes for about $80 to $90 depending on where you live. Where I live, this price was slightly closer to $90. However, like I said before, this price will vary greatly depending on which part of the world you're in. This is price competitive considering that the Fractal Design Define R6 is priced at over $120, so this is a great budget alternative. Starting off, let's look at what actually sets this case apart from its older brother, the Mini C Standard. The TG model features a gorgeous untinted tempered glass side panel that really was a trend in 2017 and is simply gorgeous. The glass produces some dreamy reflections, as well as the fact that the glass is a lot less likely to get scratched easily. It mounts with these thumb screws that are pretty much the standard on any tempered glass case, although I would have liked to see a more intuitive way of removing the side panel. Now, later on in the year, Fractal did actually add this feature on the Define R6, and I know this was a feature on the Phanteks Endu Evolve Mini, but here it's just the standard mount. The glass does rest on a lip at the bottom of the case to stop it falling off when you're removing the glass, although I do recommend being careful when removing and putting the glass back on. Now, the first really great thing I noticed about this case is the new footprint. I've owned 3 Fractal Design cases before, those being the R3, R4 and Define S, all of which I loved, but this new footprint, as well as the slightly cubey shape, is a very welcome addition to this case. Something that I love about this case is, despite all the new features and how much everything's changed on the interior, is simply how they've just kept it, well, simple. The brushed plastic front panel has almost become a staple for Fractal Design at this point, and this was the main reason why I chose this case over the Fractal Design Meshify C, despite being almost identical in function. To make the footprint even smaller, they added shorter feet than most other cases in its class, such as the S340 from NZXT, and there is no impact on cooling. Moving on, I have always praised Fractal Design for their fantastic building experience, and the Mini C is no exception. In fact, this has probably been my favourite PC building experience to date, despite having a smaller work area than my previous Fractal cases, which were all ATX. Since my last Fractal case, which was the Define S, there have been many new interior features added that I simply love. The first being the power supply shroud, which allows me to hide all of my cables with ease, as well as the fact that the motherboard tray is now slightly further embedded, allowing for much easier cable management. Another thing that I absolutely love about the building experience in this case is the open area near the PCI lanes, allowing for easy access with a screwdriver. Following this, an easily removable full bottom dust filter is included, which has a fine mesh and is removable from the front. Plenty of side ventilation is present on the front, so they are not compromising airflow for the sheer sake of silence like we've seen on so many other cases. On the right side of the case, the thumb screws to hold in the side panel are captive, and speaking of, the side, top and front panel are all covered in a dense layer of foam-like material, which is for sound dampening, although I have no way of testing how truly effective this is. The front dust filter is easily removable with downward angled grills for more noise isolation. However, due to this, it is a little on the bulky side and may prevent some intake. Speaking of, this case includes 2 fans, both 120mm, and wow, are they ever quiet while not sacrificing temperatures, something that I've always loved about Fractal's fans. This case can fit either 2 120 or 140mm fans in the front of this case, which is less than my previous Fractal Design case, however, I don't really mind. Top cooling is also pretty good with the same compatibility as in the front, and something that has changed since my last Fractal case is the fact that the Moji vent is now gone. However, I never used it, so again, I don't really mind. The mounts are properly offset from the motherboard, however, a very nice touch from Fractal here is that a full magnetic dust filter is now included. In terms of front panel I/O, there is headphone and microphone jacks, power and reset switches, as well as 2 USB 3.0 ports, and I do wish there was a USB-C port, but it is not included here. As always, I love the power button and I much prefer this to a clicky one, and a blue ambient light shines through. Going back to the power supply shroud, Fractal have done an excellent job here, as the ventilation is good, as well as the fact that the front plate is removable for more water cooling options, providing an extra 60mm of clearance for things such as pumps. Below this is the hard drive tray with 2 removable caddies, which I do recommend for HDDs, as there are dedicated SSD mounting points by the motherboard tray, which allows for 3 extra SSDs to be mounted, again with a captive thumb screw. Moving on, cable management in the back of the case is outstanding with very easy routing, making it quick to route all of the cables. The Velcro ties that Fractal include are a great addition. In fact, I didn't even have to use a single cable tie when doing my cable management. Rubber grommets are included, and this, along with again the slightly more embedded motherboard tray, make working with cables in this case an absolute treat. All of my cables could be easily flattened, and I did try this with a non-modular power supply, and even then, the door could be closed without any force. Motherboard standoffs are not installed, however a tool to assist in this process is included, so gone are the days where pliers will be needed to install standoffs. There is a middle post which is there to catch the motherboard, which I've never actually had to deal with before, but it was absolutely fine with my micro ATX motherboard. Once everything was installed, my full-size GPU was a bit of a tight fit, however an 11-inch card is totally doable, however a push-pull cooling system is not possible. In short, this is one of the best tempered glass cases under $100, and I have absolutely no problem recommending it. If you don't have a micro ATX motherboard and require an ATX motherboard, there is an ATX model available for pretty much the same price as well, which is really nice. Thank you for watching. Remember to like the video. If you want to see more content like this, then please subscribe. There's one thing left to say, and that is goodbye.